Welcome, my soft-thinking listener. You've found yourself in the company of the sleepy sloth once again. A slow, scientifically minded fellow who enjoys facts, Fortnite, and things that unfold quietly behind the scenes. I must tell you something before we begin. Today, I consider myself a scientist in the gentle unfolding of video game histories. A scientist who is almost always correct, except for those few times when I am not. But even then, I prefer to drift gently onward, rather than fuss over it. Because what truly matters is the information itself. Before I start, please, let me know. What is the most boring thing you would secretly love hearing about? Let me know gently, in the comments. Now, let us begin today's episode of the very early, very slow beginnings of Fortnite. No one asked for this. And yet, here we are, slowly tracing the quiet roots of a game that would one day grow into something vast. The year was 2011, late in its soft embrace, when Epic Games released their first tender announcement of Fortnite. This was no boisterous unveiling, no pounding drumbeat of fanfare, rather, it was like the faint flutter of a solitary leaf falling through the still air of a mossy forest floor. The idea of Fortnite was born then, not as a roaring blaze but as a quiet ember, patiently waiting for the right breath of time to coax it into flame. Imagine, if you will, the gentle unfolding of a bud, slow and unhurried, a promise of blossoms yet to come. This moment, though subtle, was the seed from which a sprawling tree would eventually grow. As we float softly onward through time's misty corridor, April of 2014 arrives like a whispered breeze carrying an extra interesting fact: the very first closed alpha sign-ups began. Now, closed alpha may sound mysterious, but it is simply the earliest cradle of play, where a chosen few, like trusted woodland creatures, are invited to explore a still raw world. This stage is akin to a baby bird's tentative first flutter, full of wobbles, stumbles, and the tentative joy of discovery. The developers, ever watchful and patient, listened intently to these early wanderers, gathering gentle notes from their quiet explorations. Later, in the same year's December chill, these closed alpha tests quietly unfolded, marking the first time players could touch and interact with Fortnite's embryonic world. Picture small groups huddled by glowing screens in dim rooms, their fingers tracing paths over pixelated landscapes still rough and unpolished, an intimate dance of creation and curiosity. But first, allow me a slow little detour for this extra interesting fact. In the language of software, alpha denotes the earliest stage of a project's life, often bug-ridden and incomplete, much like a fragile fledgling still nestled in the safety of its nest, not yet ready to soar upon the breeze. With that gentle thought lingering, let us drift ever so slowly into March of 2015. Here, the second round of Fortnite's alpha testing tiptoed forward, still hidden from the wider world, still a quiet affair, but one filled with careful smoothing of rough edges and subtle shaping of the game's tender soul. No grand parades marked this phase, only patient hands and thoughtful minds coaxing the game's form into something steadier and more graceful. Later that autumn, beneath the soft golden light filtering through turning leaves, Epic Games issued a hushed announcement of the closed beta. This next chapter in Fortnite's growth was a delicate stretch of wings, more polished, more ready to catch the currents, yet still a work in quiet progress. The beta brought gentle news of Mac compatibility, a soft invitation for the game to reach beyond its initial bounds and nestle onto more machines, expanding its quiet family. Imagine the muted click of keys, the soft hum of processors, as this tender symphony of development continued behind closed doors, unnoticed by most, yet vital to the slow blossoming of a game destined for something far greater than these humble beginnings. Ah, the gentle embrace of midsummer in 2017, a season when Fortnite began to unfurl from the quiet shadows of creation and stretch its delicate limbs toward the warm light of player hands. On the soft date of July 21st, a subtle but meaningful moment bloomed. Early access was quietly offered to those who had chosen the Founders Packs. These packs were like whispered invitations folded into the breeze, a tender handshake extended by Epic Games to those eager souls who wished to step a little earlier into the evolving world. Rather than a thunderous announcement, this early access moved with the quiet grace of leaves drifting on a gentle stream, exclusive and deliberate, reserved only for those who had decided to reserve their spot in this unfolding adventure. Inside these packs, players found a collection of digital trinkets, cosmetic delights, in-game currency, and other small treasures, each one scattered like autumn leaves upon a forest floor, waiting patiently to be found and cherished as time wove on. Just a few days later, on the 25th of July, the broader gates to Fortnite's Save the World mode were softly pushed open to the public. This side of Fortnite was a slower, more contemplative experience, a cooperative dance against the lumbering husks that shuffled quietly across the landscape like restless shadows. Save the World was an unhurried blend of tower defense and survival elements, wrapped in a gently apocalyptic mist where players gathered resources, built fortresses, and prepared defenses with patient care. Unlike the fast-paced chaos that would come to define Fortnite's later fame, this mode invited its players to linger, to plan, and to nurture their progress as if tending a fragile sapling under the protective canopy of a vast forest. Yet, this release remained a somewhat secret garden, accessible only to those willing to tread softly, who found beauty in the slow, textured rhythms beneath the surface of this growing world. Then, drifting into the early autumn haze of September 26, 2017, a quieter ripple swept across the gaming world as Fortnite unveiled its Battle Royale mode. This new arrival was free to play, a gentle offering to anyone curious enough to wander into its sprawling island, where 100 players floated down like feathers on a breeze, scattered across a battlefield that slowly shrank like the fading light at dusk. Unlike its cooperative sibling, Battle Royale was a solitary, competitive ballet, each player seeking to outlast the others, yet the launch itself was as understated as a soft sigh in the twilight. There were no grand fireworks or roaring fanfares, only a modest opening that beckoned explorers to find its secrets at their own pace. From this quiet beginning, seeds were planted that would grow into a sprawling cultural phenomenon, but in this moment, it was merely a mossy glen hidden beneath the towering trees of the digital forest, inviting discovery with a gentle, unhurried allure. In the slow turning of the year, on October 25, 2017, the very first season of Fortnite's Chapter 1 quietly began to pulse through the game's rhythm. This marked the birth of a seasonal cycle, a soft heartbeat of new themes, challenges, and subtle changes that drifted through the world like the gentle turning of ancient gears, hidden deep within a forgotten clock. Alongside this cycle, the concept of the Battle Pass emerged, a tender system that allowed players to unlock cosmetic rewards gradually, like watching a delicate feather slowly float downward, tracing a path of quiet purpose and steady progress. The seasons layered whispers of new landscapes and secrets atop the familiar, cloaking the island in a comforting blend of surprise and tradition, inviting players back to explore again and again, wrapped in the soft warmth of an ever-changing, yet constant world. When the cold breath of December 14, 2017, settled softly across the land, Fortnite entered Chapter 1, Season 2, a new chapter turning gently like frost on the edges of a moss-covered stone. This season truly heralded the dawn of the Battle Pass era, inviting players to patiently unlock a treasure trove of cosmetic wonders through the steady accumulation of experience and completion of challenges. There was no frantic rush here, only the slow, beautiful unfolding of a fern frond in a quiet forest glade, each new layer revealing itself in time, a patient revelation. The season's theme wove knights and medieval fantasy into the island's fabric, sprinkling the world with the soft dust of legend and myth, an invitation to wander slowly and explore in the calm hush of evening. Thus, the seasonal rhythm began to breathe gently within Fortnite's world, a subtle ticking like that of an ancient wooden clock, worn smooth by the gentle passage of many quiet moments. When February 22, 2018, came quietly along, Fortnite transitioned into Chapter 1, Season 3. This season introduced a space-themed cloak, softly wrapping the game's island in cosmic mystery and starry whispers. The Battle Pass continued to guide players like a slowly glowing lantern through this evolving landscape, offering new costumes and emotes that drifted down gently like feathers landing on a calm pond. The pace of the game's changes was steady, inviting players to explore these cosmic curiosities without hurry or fuss. Season 3's gentle addition of new weapons and map tweaks was akin to the slow growth of moss over time, imperceptible in the moment but adding rich texture to the environment that players wandered through, each step an exploration of quiet newness. Earlier that same year, on April 2, 2018, Fortnite quietly arrived on iOS devices, opening its doors to a broad mobile audience. This release was akin to a gentle ripple spreading across still water, as millions of humans gained the ability to carry the island's quiet chaos in their pockets. The mobile platform allowed for spontaneous moments of play, brief, peaceful escapes during slow commutes or gentle breaks beneath soft sunlight. This broad accessibility nurtured a steady growth of players, each discovering the game's soothing, repetitive rhythm on their own time, without urgency or noise, like a feather drifting slowly through a warm breeze. By the time the soft light of May 1, 2018, settled quietly over the world, Fortnite gently stepped into Chapter 1, Season 4, a season that carried with it the delicate arrival of live events as a new and enchanting feature. These live events did not shout or clamor, rather, they unfurled like rare blossoms in a shaded glen, moments when players from all corners gathered in silent awe, united by shared wonder. The season's first live event, a rocket launch, rose slowly into the sky, its shimmering trail of smoke and light trailing like a languid ribbon drifting through still air, barely stirring the calm island below. This season's theme was whispered from the edges of heroism, sprinkled with subtle hints of capes and masks, like soft shadows cast by the dappling leaves of a quiet afternoon forest. These gentle happenings invited players to pause and gaze upward, embracing the slow, unfolding story that danced quietly across the sky, an invitation to witness magic in measured breaths and soft steps. The calendar's pages turned with steady grace until June 12, 2018, when Fortnite spread its wings softly onto the Nintendo Switch platform. This release was like the quiet opening of a delicate flower, allowing the game's world to slip from stationary screens into the palms of players who carried their adventures with them. The Switch's portable nature invited a slower, more intimate rhythm of play, where the island was not confined to desks or living rooms but could be explored amidst the gentle hum of cafes, the dappled sunlight of parks, or cozy nooks where afternoon light spilled like honey. This gentle expansion was akin to the unfurling of fresh green leaves in springtime, softly broadening Fortnite's reach and offering new wanderers a chance to traverse familiar landscapes with fresh eyes and quiet curiosity. As summer's warmth ripened into July 12, 2018, Chapter 1, Season 5 breathed a tender breeze of transformation across the island's gently rolling landscapes. This season's theme was a delicate weaving of time and culture, ancient ruins resting side by side with modern structures, like pebbles and leaves nestled quietly together on a mossy forest floor. New points of interest emerged slowly, akin to hidden clearings in a dense woodland, inviting players to meander through without haste or pressure. The Battle Pass continued its serene dance, offering costumes and items like quiet treasures uncovered beneath soft patches of sunlight filtering through trees. This layering of themes and map changes was a tender reminder that even within the brisk competition, discovery could be paced with calm patience, an invitation to explore the world in gentle, unhurried steps. By this midsummer moment in 2018, Fortnite's community blossomed quietly yet significantly, surpassing tens of millions of players worldwide. This growth was no sudden eruption but a soothing crescendo, a river swelling in calm, steady currents rather than rushing torrents. The charm of Fortnite lay in its soothing, repetitive loop, building, battling, exploring, rhythms that mirrored the slow turning of seasons and the gentle drift of leaves floating downstream. Tens of millions of humans found solace in this digital sanctuary, moving through familiar patterns like feathers borne softly on a lazy breeze, each adding a new thread to the island's ever-growing tapestry of stories. August 9, 2018, arrived with the gentle unfolding of the Android beta launch, initially opening its quiet doors exclusively to Samsung devices. This introduction was less a clamor and more a subtle invitation, like a door easing open to allow a select new gathering of explorers to step gently into Fortnite's soothing landscapes. The exclusivity lent the beta a slow, deliberate pace, a trickle of fresh players stepping carefully into a world already humming softly with activity. This measured beta phase became a nursery for careful feedback and gradual refinement, much like a fragile seedling nurtured beneath a watchful gardener's hand, ensuring that when Fortnite would blossom fully on Android, it would do so with grace and steady strength. As the autumnal hush deepened on September 27, 2018, Chapter 1, Season 6 quietly unfurled its wings. The island slipped into a haunting yet peaceful atmosphere, cloaked in soft twilight hues and rustic charm. Pumpkins and ancient cabins nestled among the trees like forgotten nests, while the introduction of shadow stones added a layer of ethereal movement. Players could now slip silently through shadows, drifting like autumn leaves carried on a lazy, gentle breeze. The Battle Pass continued its steady journey, guiding players through this transformation with a calm and patient hand. Each season turned like the great wooden wheel of an ancient clock, its slow, measured rhythm echoing through the moss-covered forests of Fortnite's ever-evolving world. In the quiet of November 2018, the Cube storyline reached its softly dramatic crescendo with a large-scale map event. The mysterious cube, glowing with an almost hypnotic energy, pulsed gently at the island's heart before bursting quietly into fragments. From this cosmic disturbance emerged a flutter of butterflies, delicate wings brushing softly against an autumn breeze, drifting gracefully through the sky. Players watched in hushed wonder as the landscape shifted beneath this dreamlike spectacle, feeling the island's narrative pulse like the slow, steady heartbeat of a sleeping giant, marking a subtle but profound turning point in Fortnite's unfolding story. Drifting into December 6, 2018, Fortnite entered Chapter 1, Season 7, a season swathed in a frosty winter cloak, dusting the island lightly with icy peaks and snow-covered cabins. This seasonal change felt like the world slipping gently into hibernation beneath crystalline branches, inviting players to wander softly among frozen lakes and shimmering caves. Each step was muffled, like a soft paw pressing delicately into fresh snow. The familiar cadence of the Battle Pass offered new skins and emotes, small, carefully wrapped gifts nestled beneath a bough, waiting patiently to be discovered. On this same day, a quietly profound shift unfolded with the release of Fortnite Creative Mode, a gentle invitation to players to become architects of their own dreams. Here, time seemed to slow and stretch, as gentle hands arranged twigs and leaves into delicate patterns on a forest floor. Creative Mode opened a sandbox where imagination drifted freely, unhurried and boundless, a place where players could craft their own worlds at a whisper's pace. By the gentle arrival of February 28, 2019, Fortnite slipped softly into Chapter 1, Season 8, a time when the island wore a warm, volcanic cloak that radiated subtle heat without haste or harshness. Rivers of lava crept slowly like thick amber syrup, winding their way over rugged stones, while pirate ships drifted quietly on calm seas, adding whispered tales of adventure and mystery. This season's Battle Pass revealed new skins and items as softly glowing embers beneath a veil of ash, inviting players to explore without urgency. The island itself seemed alive yet unhurried, as if awakening from a deep slumber, beckoning wanderers to roam its ancient landscapes at a gentle pace, savoring each moment as though time stretched like slow-flowing honey through the canopy of a mossy forest. As spring quietly unfolded in April 2019, a special crossover event emerged, gently stitching the mighty Thanos from Marvel's Avengers Endgame saga into Fortnite's world. The Infinity Gauntlet limited time mode arrived like a dream softly woven between two realms, inviting players to traverse familiar battlegrounds with the shimmering, cosmic power of the gauntlet itself. Unlike the usual frenetic battles, this mode encouraged a slow accumulation of celestial strength, where players patiently sought to claim the gauntlet's vast, radiant power. This crossover felt less like a thunderous clash and more like a delicate brushstroke blending Fortnite's steady rhythm with the quiet grandeur of the Marvel Universe, a gentle whisper of new stories waiting to be told beneath familiar stars. May 9, 2019, marked the dawning of Chapter 1, Season 9, a season that draped the island in a futuristic veil shimmering with sleek buildings and neon lights. These new structures twinkled faintly through a haze, like distant stars shimmering softly behind a misty twilight. The transformation appeared carefully and unhurriedly, as if the island was slowly donning a new cloak beneath a gentle, enveloping fog. Players were invited to drift leisurely through the challenges of the Battle Pass, moving like leaves carried downstream on a calm, winding river. Every fresh location and cosmetic detail was a quiet invitation to pause and appreciate the slow, deliberate unfolding of progress, a tender layering of change that whispered of the future while cradling the past. Between the 26th and 28th of July in 2019, the world's attention settled quietly on New York City, where the first Fortnite World Cup took place, a softly buzzing gathering where players met in an offline arena to test their mettle. The champion, known as Bugga, claimed the solo title after many hours of patient practice and calm determination. Though this event might seem lively compared to the island's usual serene rhythms, here it was but a small ripple in a still pond, a breeze gently rustling leaves in a quiet forest clearing. The World Cup reminded us that beneath Fortnite's slow, steady seasons and rhythmic cycles, there pulses a quiet heartbeat of intensity, balanced by the enduring calm of the island's ever-turning wheels. The arrival of August 1, 2019, ushered in Chapter 1's 10th season, affectionately known as Season 10 or Season 10, a moment when the island's story folded gently in on itself like curled autumn leaves layered thick upon a forest floor. This season was a patchwork quilt of old and new, weaving familiar places with subtle changes that felt like moss reclaiming stones in a forgotten garden. Time appeared to bend softly here, past locations flickered like shadows just beneath the surface, inviting quiet reflection and exploration. The Battle Pass continued its patient offering, guiding players through challenges with the steady ease of a slow-flowing river. Meanwhile, the island itself began to pulse faintly, as if holding its breath before an extraordinary, yet calm transformation, the quiet anticipation before a new chapter's unfolding. September and October of 2019 saw Fortnite's landscape morph gradually, its changes unfolding like the slow shifting of twilight shadows beneath a dimming sky. The island prepared itself with gentle adjustments, terrain softly reshaping, landmarks fading or transforming like leaves turning hues in early autumn. This time of subtle evolution set the stage for the end event, a finale wrapped in patient tension and quiet expectation. Players wandered these softly altered spaces with gentle curiosity, feeling the season's narrative threads gather like dew on spider silk, delicate and shimmering, waiting for the moment when time itself would shift beneath their feet. Then, on October 13, 2019, the world held its breath as the end event quietly unfolded, a cosmic moment when the familiar island was swallowed by a slow, swirling black hole. This darkness spread like fog rolling gently over a valley at dawn, erasing the known world with patient grace. There were no frantic explosions or shouting crowds, only an elegant, meditative unmaking, a soft sigh marking the conclusion of Chapter 1. Players watched in hushed reverence, like stargazers witnessing a fading celestial body, as the island slipped gently away into memory, leaving behind only whispers and echoes that promised new stories yet to come. Just 2 days later, on October 15, 2019, a fresh chapter began with Chapter 2, Season 1, a newborn island emerging like moss-covered earth after rain, soft and inviting beneath a quiet sky. This new map was a carefully crafted sanctuary of tranquil rivers, rolling hills, and gently swaying trees, beckoning explorers to wander with unhurried footsteps. The game's mechanics were refined subtly, boats drifting lazily on shimmering water, fishing spots twinkling beneath lazy ripples, each detail wrapped in a soothing embrace of fresh beginnings. The Battle Pass returned as a gentle guide, inviting players to explore this new world with slow curiosity, as if the island itself were extending a warm hand, welcoming each visitor into its peaceful fold. By the time December 14, 2019, arrived, Chapter 2 had slipped softly into its second season, cloaked in the intrigue of spies and secret agents. This season's theme wove a quiet tapestry of mystery over the island, with sleek gadgets and hidden bases tucked away like secret nests in the crooks of ancient trees. Challenges encouraged players to move like shadows drifting beneath moonlight, careful, deliberate, and full of subtle strategy rather than haste. The Battle Pass continued its steady, comforting rhythm, rewarding patient progress with items that shimmered faintly like distant constellations on a clear, starry night. Thus, the island danced onward, each season a whispered page in an endless, unfolding story, gently turning beneath the watchful gaze of time. The soft tide of February 20, 2020, washed gently over Fortnite as Chapter 2, Season 3 unfolded with the delicate theme of flooding. The island, usually a solid ground beneath wandering feet, began to succumb to a slow rising of waters, quietly reshaping the familiar contours as though a small pond were gently reclaiming the edges of a mossy bank after a long winter. The landscape partially submerged beneath these soft waves created new, watery pathways that invited players to drift quietly, much like leaves carried on a lazy current. These transformations were subtle, asking explorers to move at a calm, unhurried pace, savoring the gentle fluidity of the shifting map. The Battle Pass moved alongside this theme like a whispered collection of small treasures, costumes and items that felt akin to delicate shells gathered from a quiet shore, each discovered with patient care and slow wonder. This watery motif murmured of renewal and slow adaptation, encouraging players to navigate a realm in flux, mirroring the steady rise and fall of tides under the soft gaze of a still moon. Between the 23rd and 25th of April, 2020, Fortnite welcomed a remarkable yet softly spoken moment, the astronomical virtual concert starring Travis Scott. This was no ordinary gathering, but rather a gently surreal experience in which the artist's digital avatar floated through dreamlike, kaleidoscopic landscapes, wrapping the audience in waves of softly pulsing lights and shimmering colors. Across multiple showings, players gathered quietly, their presence like a million tiny feathers drifting down simultaneously into a vast forest clearing. Each feather represented a player quietly watching, listening, and feeling connected within this immense virtual realm. The concert's serene success hinted at a new form of togetherness, a collective breath held in the calm space between pixels and sound, a slow dance of unity not forged in noise or frenzy but in shared, gentle wonder. The month of May, 2020, brought a quiet expansion of Fortnite's Party Royale mode into a fully blossomed non-combat social sanctuary. Here, players drifted like drowsy moths toward soft lights, gathering without the usual rush of battle, much like creatures resting peacefully by a clear, babbling stream. Party Royale became a gentle stage for concerts and movies that played softly, inviting visitors to experience entertainment more akin to a slow evening gathering around a warm fire than a bustling festival. In this calm haven, interaction was unhurried and tender, with players meandering through serene social spaces filled with glimpses of upcoming films and musical performances, like breezes carrying distant melodies through moss-dappled glades. This delicate space was not about competition but about savoring moments of relaxation, connection, and culture, offering a peaceful respite where the clamor of battle gave way to a soft, steady pulse of communal experience. On May 21, 2020, the tranquil island of Party Royale transformed into an open-air cinema for the premiere of the Tenet trailer alongside other film promotions. Players settled as if upon cushions of moss beneath starry skies, their avatars enveloped in a hush of shared stillness and gentle curiosity. The shimmering images unfolded with slow, deliberate pacing, washing over the audience like a river of light and shadow moving with quiet grace. This cinematic event, along with others of that season, reinforced Party Royale's role as a calm harbor, a sanctuary where the usual roar of competition was replaced by a soft, collective breath of wonder, a space to pause and absorb the delicate unfolding of stories and visions together. As June 17, 2020, approached, Chapter 2, Season 3 continued its gentle evolution, deepening the flooding theme with more watery map changes. New locations found themselves submerged beneath calm waters, reshaping the island's geography like a mist creeping over a sleepy landscape. The introduction of boats allowed for drifting travel along these tranquil waterways, enhancing the sensation of moving slowly through a softly flowing river winding beneath whispering trees. These changes were gradual and unhurried, like a fog settling over a familiar scene, turning each journey into a dreamlike voyage through shifting realms half remembered and half discovered. August 27, 2020, brought a new chapter as Chapter 2, Season 4 quietly intertwined Fortnite's world with the Marvel Universe, crafting a crossover season wrapped in the theme of heroes and cosmic forces. Characters and artifacts appeared with tender subtlety, Thor's hammer resting heavily like an ancient stone beneath a turning gear, Iron Man's armor catching dappled sunlight as it shimmered quietly in the distance. The narrative arc moved with slow, mythic grace toward an eventual confrontation, wrapping the island in an aura of calm grandeur. The Battle Pass offered a gentle collection of superhero skins and items, each a small, shining token in this cosmic ballet, encouraging players to move through the season's story with quiet reverence and soft anticipation. December 1, 2020, whispered its arrival with the Devourer of Worlds live event, a slowly building spectacle where Galactus, the Marvel giant, cast a vast celestial shadow over the island. This event unfolded with the weighty inevitability of an ancient clock's hands turning beneath a velvet night sky. Players watched breathlessly as the giant loomed closer, the world suspended in a hush of tension and wonder. This measured spectacle closed the Marvel crossover arc with calm dignity, leaving behind a quiet sense of resolution wrapped in starlit mystery, a moment that felt less like a crescendo and more like the gentle settling of dust after a storm. The very next day, December 2, 2020, Chapter 2, Season 5 began its soft dance, shifting themes toward a world of bounty hunters and the enigmatic Zero Point. The island assumed a mysterious new character, filled with secret agents and wandering mercenaries moving like slow-moving clouds drifting over a shadowed valley. Challenges encouraged careful, deliberate exploration, inviting players to navigate hidden stories and intrigue with the pace of turning ancient pages in a forgotten book. The Battle Pass maintained its steady, comforting rhythm, rewarding patient progress with shimmering items that flickered like distant stars seen through a misted window. This new season gently beckoned players deeper into a world woven with mystery and quiet anticipation, where every secret unfolded with the slow, deliberate grace of falling leaves on a still autumn day. The dawn of March 16, 2021, quietly ushered in Fortnite's Chapter 2, Season 6, swathing the island in a theme that softly echoed the slow reclaiming power of nature. Here, the world seemed to breathe with the rhythm of moss-covered stones and rustling leaves, as wild animals roamed beneath dappled canopies, and ancient technologies rested, forgotten, beneath layers of earth and time. The landscape unfolded like a gently meandering creek, where players wandered with a deliberate calm, their footsteps muffled by the soft bed of grass and fallen leaves. The Battle Pass carried a collection of skins and items that murmured tales of the untamed wilderness, fur-lined cloaks and tribal patterns whispered like wind through branches, inviting explorers to lose themselves in the slow pulse of growth and decay. This season was a quiet meditation on nature's rhythms, a serene reminder that even within a digital realm, time could stretch and flow as softly as sap coursing through bark, each moment unfolding in gentle patience. In the gentle swell of April 2021, Fortnite's world blossomed further with an expanding garden of celebrity crossovers and skin collaborations, carefully tended and introduced like rare blooms emerging in a quiet forest glade. Faces familiar from music, film, and popular culture drifted softly into the fabric of the game, each skin a delicate thread weaving subtle texture and color into the island's tapestry. These partnerships arrived with calm elegance, avoiding the rush of overwhelming change, instead allowing players to discover new personas as one might find hidden wildflowers nestled quietly among well-known ferns. This unfolding of intellectual properties deepened Fortnite's cultural weave without breaking the game's slow, soothing rhythm, inviting players to view the island anew, through gentle prisms of imagination, while still wrapped in the familiar embrace of its ever-turning seasons. As June 8, 2021, warmed the days, Fortnite slipped into Season 7, cloaked in a theme of alien invasion that draped the island in soft cosmic hues and curious structures. Strange pods, like peculiar seeds scattered by a slow cosmic breeze, appeared across the landscape, releasing ethereal creatures and mysterious technologies with a measured grace, as though the island had become a quiet garden of otherworldly wonders. This invasion was less a sudden upheaval than a slow bloom, creeping silently into familiar spaces and transforming the environment with tender persistence. Players navigated these additions like cautious wanderers through a misty glade, discovering new weapons and skins that shimmered faintly under the glow of distant stars. The Battle Pass continued its steady, unhurried cadence, offering rewards that invited slow, immersive exploration of this soft cosmic mystery, a gentle dance between the known and the strange. Between August 6 and 8, 2021, the island hosted the Rift Tour, a virtual concert starring Ariana Grande, a softly choreographed spectacle of light and sound that unfolded like a delicate aurora in the midnight sky. The artist's avatar floated gracefully through surreal dreamscapes, floating gardens, shimmering rifts, and cascading waterfalls of color, while audiences gathered quietly across the digital expanse. The player's presence resembled fireflies flickering softly in the twilight, their shared experience woven into the island's fabric like a comforting blanket. The Rift Tour's slow-moving visuals and gentle melodies wrapped the crowd in intimate warmth, transforming the event into a moment of calm connection amid Fortnite's usual bustle. This success reaffirmed the island's role as a space not just for battle, but for quiet, shared creativity and wonder. September 13, 2021, saw the arrival of Chapter 2, Season 8, weaving together the primal and alien invasion themes into a softly pulsing narrative tapestry. The island continued to shift, revealing new locations tucked like secret alcoves beneath ancient branches or shimmering rifts in reality. The Battle Pass offered an array of skins and items that felt like fragments of a slowly unfolding story, each a quiet thread in Fortnite's ever-growing fabric. This season invited players to wander thoughtfully, drifting through mysteries at their own pace, wrapped in the soothing hum of a world gently in flux, where every shadow and shimmer told a part of the island's whispered tale. As December's cool breath brushed the calendar on the 4th and 5th of 2021, Fortnite's island underwent a series of gentle transition events, soft cascades of change rather than sudden storms, hinting at the arrival of a new chapter. Players observed quietly as parts of the map shifted and transformed, much like moss reclaiming old stones beneath dim skies, the landscape preparing for what was to come. This transition marked the close of Chapter 2, its finale a slow, thoughtful unfolding reminiscent of a well-loved book softly closed, its pages worn smooth from gentle use. The island seemed to pause in collective breath as familiar narratives folded inward and new threads beckoned, all beneath skies brushed with muted light, in keeping with Fortnite's signature blend of calm anticipation and gentle surprise. On December 5, 2021, Chapter 3, Season 1 emerged softly, accompanied by a significant technical evolution as Fortnite transitioned to Unreal Engine 5. This change was like tuning ancient gears hidden deep within the world's machinery, unseen but vital, allowing the island to bloom with enhanced detail and subtlety. Shadows deepened like velvet, textures unfurled like delicate petals, and the environment welcomed players with new gentle hills and softly flowing rivers. The Battle Pass resumed its steady, comforting cadence, guiding explorers through these refreshed landscapes wrapped in a warm, quiet glow. The invitation to discovery was subtle and unhurried, encouraging calm exploration with every slow step into this newly blossomed realm. March 20, 2022, arrived with the softness of a feather's touch, marking the gentle beginning of Chapter 3, Season 2 in Fortnite's ever-evolving tale. The island, familiar yet ever-shifting, revealed subtle changes that felt like a morning mist slowly drifting over well-loved hills and winding rivers. These transformations did not shout or jolt but rather whispered, inviting players to rediscover hidden nooks and softly altered terrain as though tracing an old, forgotten path beneath a canopy of leaves rustling in a mild breeze. Alongside these gentle cartographic shifts, the season brought delicate refinements to gameplay, small adjustments to weapons, mechanics, and the fluidity of movement, each tweak like the unseen turning of ancient clock gears, subtle yet profound. The Battle Pass maintained its unhurried cadence, offering costumes and items that unveiled themselves gradually, akin to a feather descending through a quiet forest glade, floating ever so gently until settling softly on the moss. The overall atmosphere embraced quiet evolution, a world breathing in slow, measured breaths as it shifted imperceptibly beneath the careful steps of its visitors, a calm realm where change was as natural and inevitable as the slow turning of seasons beneath timeless trees. May of 2022 brought with it a soft expansion of Fortnite's competitive heartbeat, as the rhythm of Cash Cups and the Fortnite Champion Series, FNCS, seasons gently matured through thoughtful refinements. These developments were less abrupt than the snapping of a twig and more akin to the fine-tuning of a clock's delicate springs, small, precise calibrations intended to smooth the cadence of competition. Cash Cups provided recurring, quiet opportunities for players to test their skill with measured intent, while the FNCS seasons unfolded with steady regularity, allowing hopeful competitors to prepare and perform without the burden of rushing winds or chaotic storms. This nurturing evolution fostered a deeper, patient engagement with competitive play, wrapped in Fortnite's hallmark gentle pacing. Beneath the soft glow of this unfolding story, players moved with quiet determination and thoughtful grace, stepping carefully through the gears of a well-oiled, slowly turning machine. As the soft warmth of June 4, 2022, settled over the island, Chapter 3, Season 3 stepped into view, swathing Fortnite's world in another layer of subtle transformation. Building on the gentle reshaping of its predecessor, this season introduced new locations that felt like secret clearings discovered beneath a leafy canopy, along with slight gameplay modifications that invited players to move thoughtfully and unhurriedly through their journeys. The Battle Pass continued its slow, steady offering, a trickle of rewards, new skins and emotes, that resembled hidden treasures nestled beneath thick moss, waiting for patient wanderers to stumble upon them. The mood throughout the season was calm and measured, encouraging a pace of discovery akin to watching a fern frond unfurl in a shaded forest corner, revealing its delicate patterns without rush or clamor. The map's quiet metamorphoses blended naturally into the island's ongoing story, a gentle reminder that change need not roar but can be as soft and inevitable as clouds drifting slowly over a still pond, painting reflections in transient shapes. By October 2022, Fortnite's world had become a vast gallery, embracing an increasing number of seasonal cosmetic crossovers that settled like quiet layers of watercolor blending seamlessly into a painting. Characters and themes from movies, television, and other games wove into the island's fabric with the gentle grace of colors melding slowly on a soft canvas. These new arrivals did not overwhelm but rather invited players to wander through familiar stories and faces as if meandering through a serene garden where each bloom whispered tales from afar. The expanding cultural palette offered moments of quiet recognition and connection, an invitation to drift gently amid echoes of popular culture while still enveloped by Fortnite's soothing skies and softly shifting landscapes. This approach encouraged calm exploration, allowing players to move at their own unhurried pace through an ever-growing tapestry of stories and characters. The arrival of December 4, 2022, marked the start of Chapter 3, Season 4, carrying with it a sense of subtle anticipation akin to leaves stirring softly in a gentle breeze before the hush of winter snowfall. The season introduced new content and challenges with a quiet touch, encouraging engagement that felt more like a slow walk through a twilight forest than a hurried race through tangled undergrowth. The Battle Pass continued its unhurried unfolding of rewards, each cosmetic item a delicate bloom opening beneath soft twilight hues. Narrative threads wove carefully through the season, guiding players toward the impending seasonal finale with a measured, soothing rhythm that invited patience and reflection rather than haste. This calm pacing was a fitting prelude to the changes to come, wrapped in the steady comfort of Fortnite's familiar, gently turning world. Throughout December of 2022, the island underwent the Fracture Live event series, a sequence of map reshuffles and narrative moments that moved like slow fractures across a frozen lake, their cracks spreading quietly beneath a pale winter sun. This event was not a sudden burst of chaos but a hushed, gradual unraveling, familiar terrain softly shifting and rearranging itself as if the world itself was breathing beneath the surface. New locations emerged as if revealed by thin ice cracking in gentle patterns, mysteries tucked beneath fractured layers waiting to be uncovered by patient explorers. The atmosphere brimmed with hushed wonder, a slow dance of transformation reminiscent of an ancient wooden wheel turning smoothly after centuries of motion. This fracturing felt like the island's deep exhale, a quiet invitation to witness and participate in the gentle reweaving of its story beneath skies brushed with muted, wintry light. The dawning of February 2023 felt like a slow breath drawn beneath a canopy of swaying branches, as Fortnite softly stepped into Chapter 4, Season 1. A wholly new map unfolded with the delicate grace of rolling hills and quiet settlements, each space a gentle invitation to wander without haste or disturbance. The landscape invited discovery much like mossy paths curling beneath ancient trees, beckoning explorers to trace their steps softly over familiar yet ever-shifting terrain. Mechanical changes wove through the season like invisible threads turning the gears of a grand clock, subtly influencing movement and combat with a measured touch. These refinements encouraged players to engage thoughtfully, savoring each encounter as if watching morning dew sparkle on a leaf bathed in gentle dawn light. The Battle Pass continued its unhurried rhythm, unfurling skins and items that shimmered quietly, soft tokens gleaming like cobwebs adorned with tiny jewels, reflecting the slow unfolding of a world that turns ever so gently, inviting all who enter to dream and explore beneath a softly changing sky. Springtime, blooming quietly in April 2023, brought with it a tender whisper of nostalgia as Fortnite reintroduced OG modes and retro weapon pools through limited releases. These moments felt like stepping into a dimly lit workshop where old tools rest with the soft patina of memories, each weapon a familiar echo from past adventures, laid out for careful, unhurried examination. The return of these classic elements wasn't a sudden flood but a slow, deliberate unfolding, inviting players to savor the comforting weight of well-worn gear. These gentle inclusions blended seamlessly into the evolving island, encouraging wanderers, both veteran and new, to pause and appreciate the layered history whispered beneath the island's surface, as if discovering forgotten footsteps softly imprinted in the mossy earth. The past and present intertwined like the rings inside a tree trunk, marking time with quiet dignity. By the quiet warmth of June 2023, Fortnite's balance between competitive and casual experiences shifted with the care of a luthier tuning a beloved instrument. Adjustments to weapons, player mobility, and the delicate dance of vaulting and unvaulting items moved with a calm deliberateness, akin to the soft tightening of strings that must sing in harmony with the player's evolving journey. Each weapon tweak was a gentle stroke, either softening or sharpening playstyles in measured doses, while mobility updates encouraged smooth glides and effortless flows across the varied landscape. The vault system spun slowly like a carousel bathed in twilight, rotating items with steady rhythm and inviting players to adapt not with frantic haste but with thoughtful grace. These changes nurtured a gameplay environment that balanced challenge with ease, allowing every traveler on the island to find their own unhurried pace amid the softly turning gears of Fortnite's persistent world. June 2023 also brought the quiet bloom of Chapter 4, Season 2, where limited-time modes and map events drifted through the game's steady rhythm like ripples on a still pond. These ephemeral modes offered brief but delicate novelty, like petals momentarily brushing the surface of a tranquil lake, while the map events unfolded with a gentle elegance reminiscent of shifting shadows beneath swaying branches. New locations and subtle alterations emerged not as disruptions but as whispered invitations, coaxing players to explore with the patience of one tracing the slow growth of moss on bark. Each addition felt like a soft conversation between the island and its inhabitants, a quiet exchange woven from the breath between moments, encouraging discovery with half-closed eyes and drifting spirits. When the calendar's pages turned toward September 2023, Chapter 4, Season 3 unveiled itself as a dreamlike layering of realities, softly weaving Fortnite's island deeper into the metaverse. Digital worlds overlapped like slowly turning pages in a book no one hurried to finish, as characters and themes from distant realms drifted quietly onto the landscape. These new elements arrived like gentle visitors floating down through a forest clearing, feathers on a hushed breeze, inviting calm curiosity rather than sudden surprise. The Battle Pass continued its steady offering, each reward a small token shimmering faintly like stars seen through mist, encouraging exploration at a slow, comforting pace, much like a river winding lazily through gentle green hills. The approach of November 2023 brought with it a carefully penned roadmap, a plan unfolding with measured care toward the return of classic OG modes and the introduction of fresh gameplay experiences. This announcement felt less like a trumpet's call and more like the soft opening of a treasured book, its pages turned slowly to reveal new chapters. Epic Games signaled its intention to honor Fortnite's layered history while embracing the possibilities of tomorrow, weaving nostalgia and innovation into a harmonious whole. Players were invited to look ahead with gentle anticipation, knowing these changes would arrive as steadily as the first blooms of spring, quiet, patient, and filled with the promise of new stories unfolding beneath softly shifting skies. December 2, 2023, brought the Big Bang Live event, a cosmic pulse shimmering like a slowly unfurling flower petal kissed by starlight. The event introduced Eminem in a subtle but profound chapter reveal, moving not with a roar but with the surreal calm of the universe itself, breathing deeply before revealing a secret. Players gathered beneath skies brushed with cosmic hues, wrapped in shared quiet wonder as reality gently stretched and folded, hinting at the dawn of Chapter 5. The moment felt like a soft exhale across the fabric of Fortnite's digital world, a delicate shift ushering in new horizons to explore. Later that same December, Chapter 5, Season 1 quietly emerged, unveiling a new map veiled in misty contours that reshaped the familiar forest with gentle care. This fresh landscape invited slow, thoughtful exploration, its curves and valleys unfolding like a soft fog rolling over ancient Earth. Subtle meta changes nudged gameplay with a light hand, encouraging players to engage mindfully rather than rush headlong. The Battle Pass resumed its calming rhythm, dispensing skins and items that glittered faintly like distant stars glimpsed through a veil of mist, quiet rewards for steady, patient journeys through this renewed world, a place where the slow turning of time invites all wanderers to explore beneath the ever-changing skies. February 2024 whispered into the digital woods with a tender unveiling of Fortnite's festival and concerts roadmap, a delicate promise carried like a breeze through moss-covered branches. This announcement did not shout or surge but moved with the quiet grace of tuning instruments before a tranquil symphony begins. It spoke softly of melodies soon to drift across Battle Royale and other serene social spaces, virtual clearings where players could gather beneath pixelated constellations, sharing moments wrapped in gentle harmonies. The roadmap sketched a slow, steady stream of concerts, each designed not to disrupt but to soothe, inviting a collective breath held in calm anticipation. Imagine, if you will, a soft rain settling over a quiet forest glen, each droplet a note in a lullaby meant to unify and comfort. This gentle build-up nurtured an atmosphere where music and community intertwined, growing patiently like vines climbing slowly toward sunlight, enriching the island's texture without hurry or demand. As March 2024 unfurled its subtle bloom, Fortnite expanded its creative horizons with new devices, islands, and publishing auctions, opening the door to worlds imagined and crafted with the patience of a gardener tending to seedlings beneath a misty dawn. This growth encouraged players to shape their own softly flowing landscapes, each island a delicate universe where creativity could wander at an unhurried pace. The new tools invited collaboration and gentle discovery, offering a calm counterpoint to the usual battle-driven tempo. Picture a slow amble through a dew-kissed glen, where every leaf, stone, and ripple of water is noticed with quiet wonder. These creative expansions allowed players to drift through their ideas as one might trace the intricate veins of a fern frond, savoring the slow emergence of beauty and innovation in a space freed from haste. The arrival of May 2024 brought with it the first gentle ripples of rocket racing and other arcade-style modes, experimental petals unfurling softly upon Fortnite's familiar landscape. These limited trials did not demand swift mastery or fierce competition but invited players to sample new flavors of play with measured curiosity. Rocket racing infused the island with a sense of poised speed and precision, while other modes offered playful escapes from the traditional build and battle rhythm. Like watching drifting clouds rearranging themselves slowly in an endless sky, these experiments encouraged leisurely exploration of novelty, inviting the community to embrace change with a calm spirit. Each test was a delicate invitation, a feather floating quietly onto the water surface, offering new sensations without overwhelming the steady pulse of the game's heartbeat. By the time July 2024 stretched its long, gentle days across the calendar, Fortnite's experimental modes blossomed further, with playtests for ballistic and other gameplay ideas unfurling as quietly as a slowly turning wheel. This program moved forward with care and reflection, balancing new concepts with the steady flow of player feedback. Ballistic, with its tactical, patient approach, wove itself into this unfolding tapestry like a finely crafted mechanism, inviting players to savor the slow intricacies of strategy and teamwork. Engaging these modes was akin to wandering through a softly lit museum hall, where each exhibit invites a lingering gaze and thoughtful appreciation. The slow rhythm of these tests allowed the community to explore fresh gameplay with gentle curiosity, discovering nuances as one might trace the delicate gears inside an antique clock, each turn measured and precise. August 2024 introduced new partnerships that added subtle cosmetic flourishes to Fortnite's cultural canvas. These crossovers came like soft brushstrokes across a slowly evolving painting, each limited drop a quiet homage to beloved stories and characters. Players donned skins and accessories with the reverence of slipping into familiar robes at a carefully held ceremony, wrapped in the warmth of shared fandom. The atmosphere remained calm and inviting, encouraging exploration at a pace unhurried, as if wandering through a gallery of softly glowing portraits in a hushed hall. These additions enriched the island's evolving tapestry without sharp contrasts or sudden shifts, reinforcing the sense of Fortnite as a world where culture and creativity weave together gently beneath ever-changing skies. The closing days of November 2024 witnessed the gentle culmination of the Fortnite Remix concert series, a major music crossover event that felt less like a thunderous finale and more like warm embers glowing softly in a quiet hearth. This concert unfolded beneath digital skies as melodies drifted like a warm breeze weaving through mossy glades, inviting players to gather in shared moments of calm celebration. The finale's energy released slowly, embracing the remix experience in a comforting cocoon of sound and light. It reminded all present of music's timeless power to unite and soothe, turning Fortnite's bustling island into a serene sanctuary of connection, wrapped in the soft shimmer of a world whose gears turn steadily, faithfully, and gently. As December 2024 drew to its close, the promise of a permanent Fortnite OG mode settled softly into place, much like dust finding rest upon the pages of a cherished, well-read book. This decision was a deliberate nod to the game's origins, a lasting refuge where classic maps, mechanics, and memories could be savored indefinitely. The permanence of OG mode invited players to return to those softly worn corners of the island's earliest days, like sinking into a favorite armchair beside a warm fire, wrapped in the tender glow of nostalgia that never fades. This commitment to honoring the past felt less like a return and more like a gentle embrace, allowing wanderers to linger in familiar rhythms and quiet joys, recalling the slow passage of time marked by footprints softened in moss and memory. Throughout November 2024, from the 2nd to the 30th, the island pulsed gently with the Chapter 2 remix concerts, where artists such as Snoop Dogg and Ice Spice lent their voices to a series of tranquil gatherings. These events transformed Fortnite into a shared sanctuary, where music flowed like a calm stream weaving through moss-covered clearings, inviting players to relax beneath shimmering digital skies. The concerts played out across multiple showings, their melodies wrapping listeners in a warm blanket of sound, turning the island into a shared dreamscape of calm reflection. This fusion of music and virtual space offered a reminder that even amidst the ceaseless turning of time's great wheels, spaces exist for quiet contemplation and slow celebration, places where hearts beat gently in unison beneath softly glowing stars. December 6, 2024, saw the soft return of Fortnite OG, a homage to the original classic experience. This revival was more a gentle whisper than a clamorous shout, like discovering an old photograph tucked away beneath layers of time-worn pages. Epic Games quietly announced plans for an ongoing OG rotation, a thoughtful rhythm that allowed players to revisit the earliest island melodies at a pace suited for slow rediscovery and comfort. The promise of permanent OG mode was an invitation to return home, to walk once more through softly fading memories wrapped in the warm embrace of digital familiarity. This measured unfolding was not a hurried replay but a careful tracing of time's slow growth rings, each layer telling stories of seasons past and seasons yet to come, inviting players to savor the gentle unfolding of history as if following the path of an ancient, moss-covered trail winding deeper into the forest. A few days later, on December 9, 2024, Fortnite unveiled Festival Mode, a new social space designed as a quiet glade within the vibrant forest of the island. Here, players could gather without the rush of competition, moving gently beneath twinkling lights and shared laughter, surrounded by an atmosphere of calm joy and soft connection. Festival Mode was an invitation to linger, to drift through conversations or simply soak in the peaceful ambience like watching fireflies glow softly on a warm summer night or leaves swaying in a light breeze. This mode fostered a sense of community wrapped in tranquility, a place where moments of gentle celebration could be savored slowly, as if time itself had softened and stretched to welcome the warmth of human connection amidst the cool digital woods. On December 11, 2024, Fortnite Ballistic entered early access, offering a new tactical first-person shooter experience that brought a different rhythm to the island's ongoing tale. Unlike the usual brisk encounters, Ballistic encouraged patience and strategy, moving with the deliberate care of gears turning inside a finely crafted clock. Players navigated slower, more thoughtful combat, focusing on positioning, teamwork, and deliberate decision-making, each move carefully meshing with the next to create a smooth, measured dance. Early access allowed explorers to immerse themselves in this mode's calm complexities without pressure or rush, learning its nuances like watching the slow interplay of delicate mechanisms hidden beneath a clock's face, where every tick and tock is part of a larger, harmonious whole. Throughout December 2024, the OG rotation and special OG seasons unfolded gently, like turning the familiar page of a beloved book whose story lives on in the quiet comfort of memory and care. These seasons welcomed players back to classic themes, locations, and challenges, now polished with the soft glow of modern updates. The rhythm was steady and unhurried, encouraging long, lingering exploration and a deep appreciation for Fortnite's evolving history. Much like tracing a well-worn forest path bathed in dappled sunlight, these seasons invited wanderers to pause and savor the gentle passage of time, where every step carries echoes of the past mingling softly with the present, creating a tapestry woven with threads of familiarity and renewal. On January 31, 2025, the gentle closing of Fortnite's OG Season 1 marked a quiet transition into OG Season 2, a passage that unfolded with the subtlety of shifting light through a stained glass window kissed by drifting clouds. This change was neither abrupt nor jarring, but instead wrapped players in a comforting embrace of familiar terrain and softly woven new elements, like the slow turning of a page in a treasured book. The island's landscapes, touched by faint, gentle updates, invited wanderers to continue their meandering journeys beneath skies that shifted with the tender pace of a deep forest's breathing. Each step through this unfolding story felt like a slow dance with time itself, where moments stretched and softened, allowing exploration and discovery to bloom without rush. The seamless flow between seasons held space for reflection and calm engagement, as players found themselves cradled in Fortnite's characteristic blend of nostalgia and quiet novelty, drifting through experiences shaped by patient artistry and care. When the calendar slid to May 2, 2025, Fortnite opened a new chapter with the Galactic Battle mini-season, a delicate folding of the vast Star Wars universe into the island's familiar rhythms. This crossover was not a crashing supernova but a soft, cosmic breath, spreading gently like stardust scattered over a velvet night sky. The hum of lightsabers, the distant roar of starships, and the quiet pulse of the island's world mingled like intertwined currents, inviting players to drift slowly between galaxies both known and newly imagined. Each quest, cosmetic, and map addition felt tenderly placed, like carefully set stones along a forest path, encouraging unhurried exploration of this vast, storied cosmos. Players moved with the measured grace of star cruisers gliding through silent expanses, enveloped in the soft glow of nostalgia and wonder. This melding of two worlds offered a calm immersion, a dance between the fantastical and the familiar, spun out slowly like the gentle orbit of planets in an endless sky. June 7, 2025, brought the live event Death Star Sabotage, the climactic moment of the Galactic Battle mini-season, unfolding as a quiet ballet of strategy and collaboration. Rather than a sudden burst of action, the event moved with deliberate precision. Players piloted X-Wings and TIE fighters through star-streaked voids, weaving a careful, cooperative effort to disable the iconic Death Star. The tension hung softly in the air like mist hovering above a still lake, the mechanics of the mission turning as smoothly as celestial gears in perfect alignment. This was not merely a spectacle, but a shared story told in moments of calm determination and thoughtful timing. The destruction of the Death Star felt like the slow unfolding of a secret, a collective breath held and released gently in unison. Participants were invited to move with patience and care, drifting through space's vast quiet, their actions threading together in a harmonious dance that echoed the steady pulse of the galaxy itself. As the month slipped onward into June 2025, the Chapter 6 post-event season arrived, carrying with it soft updates that gently extended the island's evolving tale beyond the Star Wars saga. The landscape shifted with quiet touches, like moss softly spreading over time-worn stones or new shoots sprouting beneath a shaded canopy. Landmarks appeared delicately, inviting exploration at a calm, unhurried pace, while game modes evolved with the steady rhythm of seasons turning slowly in an ancient forest. Players were drawn into this gentle transformation, stepping through an open door into spaces both familiar and newly reimagined. The island's heartbeat continued its steady march beneath skies brushed with the faintest hues of dawn and dusk, wrapping visitors in a soothing embrace of continuity and change. This transition offered a place where curiosity could unfold softly, and discovery was a slow, steady bloom growing patiently in the fertile soil of Fortnite's quietly turning world. Across many seasons and softly unfolding years, Fortnite embraced the gentle rhythm of Battle Pass launches, a recurring system that guided players through progression and rewards much like a slow, deliberate climb up a winding staircase hidden beneath ancient trees. Each Battle Pass arrived as a quiet invitation, encouraging unhurried exploration of new cosmetics, challenges, and unfolding story threads. This mechanism was far from a clamorous call. Instead, it served as a steady companion, offering a comforting sense of continuity and purpose. Players drifted through tiers of unlocks at their own pace, each reward a small milestone like the turning of a page in a beloved, ever-expanding storybook. The rewards themselves, skins shimmering softly like dew on moss, emotes fluttering like gentle feathers, felt like tokens left behind on a slow journey through an enchanted forest. This progression system wove itself tenderly into the game's ongoing narrative, allowing wanderers to find both solace and surprise amid the island's softly turning seasons. Throughout Fortnite's evolving timeline, the introduction and rotation of limited-time modes, lovingly known as LTMs, added delicate variety to the island's familiar rhythms. Modes such as 50v50, Solid Gold, and Floor is Lava arrived like cool whispers drifting through a leafy glade, gentle shifts in the landscape that stirred curiosity without disturbing the overarching calm. These modes floated in and out of rotation quietly, each offering a unique gameplay twist that encouraged slow experimentation and discovery. Their cyclical nature meant that players could anticipate the comforting return of familiar modes, like the seasonal bloom of rare flowers opening quietly under a muted sky. Rather than startling change, these LTMs provided a soft breeze through Fortnite's evergreen woods, reminding players that variety and familiarity can coexist in a tranquil balance, wrapped in the gentle hush of a world ever renewing itself. Parallel to these gameplay variations, Fortnite embraced multiple limited-time promotional partnerships, where characters and themes from popular culture fluttered across the island like softly falling autumn leaves settling upon mossy stones. These collaborations arrived with a gentle fanfare, not loud trumpets, but quiet chimes resonating through the digital forest, introducing figures from blockbuster films, beloved superheroes, and iconic brands with tender care. Each crossover blended smoothly into Fortnite's existing world, weaving new threads into the fabric of the island's identity without tearing at its edges. Players were invited to engage with fresh stories wrapped in the game's soothing atmosphere, where moments of quiet excitement felt more like whispered secrets shared beneath ancient oaks than raucous announcements. These additions served as delicate brushstrokes on an ever-evolving canvas, enriching the island with new hues while preserving its tranquil charm. Seasonal cosmetic crossovers have long been a thread weaving through Fortnite's tapestry, bringing characters and designs from Marvel, Star Wars, DC, various music artists, anime, and celebrities gently into the game's wardrobe. These crossovers flowed in like soft waves of color and style, inviting players to adorn their avatars with skins echoing the broader cultural landscape. Rather than overwhelming the core experience, these releases blended into the island's fabric with quiet grace, offering players the chance to explore new identities and stories at a measured pace. Each cosmetic emerged like a delicate bloom within a well-tended garden, a small flourish that added variety and personal expression beneath the softly shifting skies of Fortnite's universe. This continual infusion of cultural elements felt less like an invasion and more like a steady breeze carrying familiar scents from distant lands, wrapping the game in a gentle embrace of connectedness and creativity. One of Fortnite's most poignant storytelling arcs revolves around the life cycle of major map locations, none more iconic than Tilted Towers. Introduced amid much fanfare, this landmark has been destroyed, removed, and reintroduced multiple times across various seasons, each iteration a slow evolution of place and memory. The transformations of Tilted Towers echoed the gentle cycles of nature, like a towering tree shedding its leaves in autumn only to bloom again come spring's first light. Players wandered through these changes with quiet nostalgia and wonder, bearing witness to the island's landscape turning like the pages of a slowly unfolding epic. Tilted Tower stands as a tender reminder of Fortnite's ever-changing yet ever-familiar world, a place where endings softly give way to beginnings, and the past lingers like a comforting scent on the breeze. Alongside its shifting landscapes, Fortnite has introduced major mobility items such as bouncers, Rift-to-Go, shockwave grenades, grappler, and slipstreams, each gently reshaping how players move across the island's terrain. These tools allowed players to drift, bounce, or glide like leaves caught upon a mild spring breeze, transforming movement with subtle innovation. Rather than disrupting the flow, these items enhance the game's fluidity, encouraging exploration and creative navigation at a relaxed pace. Discovering each new mobility device felt akin to finding secret pathways through a familiar forest, small openings beneath the canopy leading to fresh adventures. This measured evolution of movement lent a gentle dynamism to gameplay, inviting players to roam with newfound grace beneath Fortnite's softly turning canopy. The cycles of weapon vaulting and unvaulting have become a defining heartbeat of Fortnite's dynamic balance. Weapons retire to the vault quietly, resting like well-used tools set aside for a future season, only to return later when the rhythm feels right, like the slow rotation of tides revealing and concealing treasures beneath a tranquil shore. This system encourages thoughtful adaptation, inviting players to revisit beloved armaments or explore freshly unvaulted ones with calm curiosity. The steady pulse of vaulting preserves the freshness of Fortnite's arsenal while maintaining the familiar warmth of old favorites, sustaining a balanced harmony within the island's evolving combat landscape. It is a rhythm both soothing and invigorating, like the measured turning of gears in an ancient clock, steady and purposeful. Over the years, Fortnite's creative island publishing system blossomed quietly into a rich garden of community content and monetization opportunities. What began as simple tools for building and sharing gradually evolved into a sprawling ecosystem where players could craft entire worlds, games, and experiences to share. This growth felt like watching a seedling stretch slowly toward the sun, eventually becoming a sprawling tree whose branches spread gently in every direction. Along with creative freedom came monetization paths that allowed these digital architects to be rewarded for their patient, loving craftsmanship. Community creations flowed softly like a slow river, carrying fresh ideas downstream, enriching Fortnite's landscape with perspectives as varied as leaves upon the breeze. This ecosystem invited endless exploration beneath the calm canopy of shared imagination, nurturing a vibrant garden of possibility. Meanwhile, Fortnite's esports scene grew with similar deliberate rhythm, shaped by ongoing refinement of the Fortnite Champions Series, FNCS, and regional competitive formats. The evolution was never rushed or chaotic but carefully calibrated, like tuning an intricate instrument in pursuit of perfect harmony. FNCS seasons arrived with steady cadence, offering structured competition balancing challenge with accessibility. Regional formats encouraged players worldwide to participate within familiar, local frameworks, fostering a global yet intimate sense of connection. The esports ecosystem blossomed as a quiet dance of skill and strategy, inviting players to develop at their own pace beneath the steady glow of ambition, wrapped in the soft hum of community spirit and shared pursuit. Battle Royale also expanded its role as a peaceful social sanctuary, evolving into a rich, non-combat space dedicated to concerts, premieres, and gatherings. This corner of Fortnite transformed into a gently glowing hearth where players could relax, connect, and experience culture free from the usual bustle of battle. Over time, Battle Royale grew like a tranquil meadow dotted with twinkling fireflies, each concert and premiere a soft light inviting players to gather beneath open digital skies. This evolution provided a soothing counterbalance to the island's action, nurturing moments of calm joy and shared wonder where music and storytelling floated like feathers on a slow-moving breeze. Cross-media collaborations steadily expanded, weaving a growing tapestry of TV, film, and music intellectual properties into Fortnite's evolving identity. These partnerships arrived not as storms but as gentle infusions, blending popular narratives and characters into the island's fabric with soft hands. Through skins, emotes, and themed events, these crossovers invited players to step into familiar stories anew, like opening a well-loved book whose pages shimmer with fresh illustrations. This ongoing weaving enriched the game's universe, layering diverse influences beneath the softly shifting skies and inviting players to wander through a landscape both comfortably known and freshly enchanted. From a technical vantage, Fortnite's gradual migration from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5 during the Chapter 3 era marked a slow but steady evolution beneath the surface. This transition was a carefully managed passage, like replacing worn gears within a timeless clockwork mechanism. It brought subtle improvements in graphics, physics, and world building, allowing the island to breathe with greater detail and realism while preserving the soft rhythms players cherish. This quiet technical migration served as the engine powering Fortnite's ongoing transformation, supporting new features wrapped in the familiar embrace of its ever-turning world. New core mechanics introduced across various seasons arrived, like the slow opening of a flower's petals. Sliding, mantling, and fresh building mechanics came as soft enhancements, tools designed to deepen player engagement without disturbing the gentle flow. Each edition offered fresh ways to traverse and interact with the environment, inviting discovery at a measured pace. These new mechanics blended seamlessly into Fortnite's established dance, enriching gameplay with subtle complexity while preserving the soothing cadence of exploration and creativity beneath the island's softly turning sky. Between 2023 and 2024, Fortnite quietly reintroduced retro and OG playlists and modes as part of careful experiments, paving the way toward the anticipated OG return. These early steps arrived as soft echoes from the past, inviting players to revisit classic mechanics, weapons, and map layouts, not as sudden jolts but as tender glimpses into earlier chapters. The retro playlists allowed a slow rediscovery, like tracing the faded contours of a well-loved map, preparing the community for a full embrace of the OG experience once more, wrapped in the warm familiarity of time's gentle unfolding. Throughout 2024 and into 2025, Epic gently expanded Fortnite's collection of alternative core modes such as Rocket Racing, Festival, Ballistic, the Tactical FPS, and ongoing Party Royale expansions. These modes invited slow immersion into fresh gameplay currents, each with its own unique tempo and atmosphere. Rocket Racing brought the measured thrill of precision speed, Festival and Party Royale offered serene social spaces, and Ballistic encouraged thoughtful strategy and quieter combat. Together, they formed a diverse garden of experiences, each blooming at its own leisurely pace beneath the softly shifting skies of Fortnite's vibrant world. In monetization, 2024 to 2025 saw Epic delicately experiment with new flows around festival passes and event-based ticketing. These approaches were gentle invitations rather than sharp calls to action, encouraging engagement with special events and exclusive content at a measured tempo. Festival passes provided access to curated cosmetics and experiences, while ticketing framed unique gatherings and concerts as moments to savor. This subtle evolution sought harmony between player enjoyment and game growth, like a steady current beneath Fortnite's visible surface, flowing quietly onward. As late 2024 slipped toward 2025, a series of seasonal collaborations with music artists and celebrities carried forward Fortnite's concert era with calm continuity. These events drifted softly through the digital realm, bringing familiar voices and melodies to social spaces in a manner that felt less like spectacle and more like communal campfires beneath the stars. The ongoing partnership allowed players to gather in moments of gentle joy and shared culture, wrapped in peaceful celebration. Each concert was a slow dance of light and sound, inviting listeners to relax and drift in harmony with Fortnite's ever-turning world. Throughout 2025 and beyond, Fortnite remains an evolving platform where live events, seasonal content, competitive play, and creative tools flow together in a slow, continuous stream. This ongoing evolution is not a frantic rush but a deliberate, careful dance, each update folded softly into the game's fabric, like the gradual layering of rings inside a towering tree. Players drift through this changing world at their own pace, discovering moments of quiet excitement, gentle challenge, and creative expression. Fortnite's steady unfolding invites all who enter to linger a while, wrapped in the soothing embrace of a universe always growing, always turning, yet always familiar beneath the soft glow of countless digital stars. This fact is not exciting. Not even a little bit. And that is just perfect. You may not care. And that is completely fine. Because the world of video game development is often slow and quiet, a gradual unfolding rather than a sudden blaze. Let us drift softly, wrapped in this gentle understanding, knowing that these small steps laid the foundation for what would someday become a bustling, lively virtual playground. Remember, you need not hold any of these facts tightly. They are like leaves on a slow-moving stream, gently passing by your mind. Let your thoughts float lightly, like moss drifting on a gentle brook, warm and easy. If your eyes are closed, if your thoughts are drifting, then my job here is done for today. Thank you for spending this unremarkable moment with me. You have listened to The Sleepy Sloth, where uninteresting things become the softest lullabies.